Closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.
So my riding story actually starts back in November of 2020, and here are some photos from my first ride and one of my first rides on Oliver. So fast forward into May of 2021 because I didn't get many videos of the early stages of my riding, but this is me riding Mimi. Right now my balance really isn't the best and I have no idea in the world what a diagonal is. Little more into that summer, I started riding Gracie and learning how to canter on her, so here are some of the clips of her throwing her head while I was trying to pick it up, so thank you, Gracie! Here was honestly one of the worst rides I had ever had at the time. It was about 1,000,000 degrees out that day, and Mimi was just so agitated from the flies, but eventually we got to this ride, which was much better. Looking back at this, I look so tiny on her. And here again is another clip of me cantering on Gracie, where I did a little bit better. So August of 2021 was when I first started riding Oliver, and my balance was pretty awful in the trot, but honestly, he was such an amazing pony and he taught me so much. Here were some clips of Oliver being an absolute angel pony while I really didn't know how to bend at this point. I don't know what went through my brain that day, but I just couldn't get it. So here were some absolutely adorable clips of me tacking up Oliver. Just look at how cute he is. So the Halloween show in 2021 was when I rode Oliver in the higher class, and we didn't do awful, but we didn't do the best. The jumps that we did in that show were a bit wonky. I really didn't know what Oliver was doing at that point. Here was an interesting lesson where I was riding Mimi and I had to actually use spurs. My seat was actually good except the fact that I was leaning way too far forward. So the next show I had to ride Gracie due to some interesting Fern moments. But anyway, Gracie was honestly such a good pony at this point, even though I was way too big to be riding her. But look at this jump. December of 2021 was when the major improvements started happening, so I had a lesson on Mimi and we started cantering over jumps, which is completely unexpected by me. Ignore my heels right there, I know they were really bad. Here was when Mimi decided she was going to canter over everything. Anyway, my next ride was on Oliver, where I also got to canter over jumps, and I did get a little left behind, but honestly, he did so good for me, and it was a major improvement. So now we are on to 2022, and this is actually my first ride of the year, and look how cute Crane is being, even though it is really wet outside. Then came the lesson where I cantered on Cran for the first time, and his canter is honestly amazing. It's so smooth and easy to sit to. Now we have an interesting ride on Mimi where I could not get her to canter at all. In the summer of 2022, I started riding Jay a lot more, and even Marvel, who is a green pony. I believe this was my second ride on her, and at this time she didn't have her saddle fitted properly, so eventually we fixed that, but here was some points when she was, a little bit trippy and the saddle was sliding a lot, but yeah, we still did okay for that. So now I'm on Fern, and she is an ex-racehorse who loves to be speedy. And yeah, so you could definitely tell that right there. I'm not having much contact on her mouth, and as a result of that, she is going very fast and my seat isn't the best. So then in August, I was invited to my first ever show with Jay, and here was our ride the day before, which was basically just some show prep. My first show with him was awesome, and we didn't place that well, but I learned a lot, and I'm hopefully going to be going back there again this year. So this ride was really cool. It was right after a hurricane had just come through, and yeah. In October, I did the Halloween horse show where I rode Marvel and Cran, and they are both being awesome, especially for how green Marvel is at the time. In the jumping class, Cran was an absolute angel, and it was definitely the best jumps I'd ever done on him and in general. And that right there is why we won champion at that show. Then I had one ride in the middle of the next horse show, and I rode Mimi bareback at the end, which was really fun, even though her back is very bony. So now this is the November show, and Cran was being amazing again, but we actually got the wrong lead in between these jumps, and I was on the wrong diagonal a lot, so that didn't play well in our favor for placing. We all know this ride, though, was when Marvel was very fresh, the arena was wet, and I had a bit of a confidence knock. But now we are on to the new year, 2023, and I've already had 4 rides. These are the first 2, and right now it is actually February. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed listening to my riding story, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!